So my name is David Moore. I'm the Executive Director at the Larimer County Sheriff's Office. This morning at 10:39 a.m. we received a 911 call of smoke reported west of Sylvandale Ranch. Multiple agencies responded, discovered a wildfire, and they've been fighting that fire ever since. The Larimer County Sheriff's Office has opened up the Joint Information Center at the Sheriff's Office. That number is 970-980-2500. The public can call that number for information regarding animal evacuations, their own evacuations, where they should go, what they should do, and any type of resources that they might need while they are out of their homes. So we highly encourage folks to call that number. Again, that number is 970-980-2500. So the fire is currently estimated at 339 acres with 0% containment. We have a ton of resources here, and I'm going to rattle off some names of some fire agencies that are here assisting us. I know I'm going to forget some, and I apologize to them. Obviously, the Larimer County Sheriff's Office Emergency Services Unit, Loveland Fire Rescue Authority, United States Forest Service, Estes Park, Berthoud, Front Range, Rocky Mountain National Park, Windsor, Allens Park, Glen Haven, and Pinewood Springs. Again, I know I probably forgot some, and I apologize to them, but we certainly appreciate their help. As of about an hour ago, we had a total of, I'm sorry, let me back up. There are multiple evacuation areas at this time, mandatory and voluntary. People can go to nocoalert.org to see the map of where those evacuations are. To put it into context, though, in the mandatory evacuation area, that notification was sent to 2,635 contacts. The involuntary was sent to 1,491 contacts. And I want to make it very clear, contacts are not individual homes and they're not individual people. Those are devices that have been registered to receive those alerts in those areas. So for instance, at my house, I count as 4 contacts because I've signed up to receive the alert 4 different ways. So again, those are not individual homes or contacts.
Can you repeat the numbers?
Yes, 2,635 contacts for the mandatory evacuation area and 1,491 contacts for the involuntary. We have 2 evacuation centers open. The Namaqua Elementary School in Loveland, that's at 209 North Namaqua Avenue, and the Estes Park Events Complex at 1125 Rooftop Way in Estes Park. We have multiple air resources on scene with additional air resources ordered. We have a Black Hawk, 2 Type 1 helicopters, 1 Type 3 helicopter, 2 heavy air tankers, 2 seats, 2 Super Scoopers, 1 Type 2 helicopter, and again, we have additional air resources ordered to come in along with additional personnel. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to our Incident Commander, Justin Weitzel, and he is the Emergency Operations Director for the Larimer County Sheriff's Office.
Thanks, David. Obviously, right now, our focus is on getting people out of the way of the fire, making sure that they're safe. So we're doing the evacuations, like David said. That's our primary focus. With you may not be aware, but there's a lot of fires going on around the country, Oregon, California, even into Canada, Utah. So resources are limited to get right now. And so we are doing the best we can with the resources we have. We have a lot of engines from all over Colorado coming to help us. We do have a couple of hand crews. One from the Sheriff's Office is up on the fire. They're the only hand crew up on the fire right now. All the other engines and other resources are out at the homes, making sure people are evacuated and making sure we can protect the homes. That's our main focus for today, is just making sure that people are out of the way, and then we're preparing for the fire to come to the structures if it does. So we're prepping for that and planning for it. So on all 4 sides of the fire, we definitely have built a big box of evacuations and resources that we have. We have a lot more resources coming in the next few days, and we're gonna see what we can hold on to with all the air resources and a little bit of hand crews and engines that we have at the moment.
Now we'll turn it over to Sheriff John Feyen.
Hello, my name is John Feyen. That's F-E-Y-E-N. I am the Larimer County Sheriff. And just in closing, I just want to say they've already given you all the statistics about the number of people who are here, what the mission is to keep people safe, to keep infrastructure safe. But again, we could not do this without the host of everybody that's out here who responded immediately to the call for help. It's a big area and a rugged area, and it moves fast. So in particular, I want to thank Jason Sieg, who is the interim director for the Arapahoe Roosevelt National Forest. They were immediately here providing resources, as well as my fellow sheriffs. Sheriff Johnson in Boulder County, who sent his tactical team up here with us, because those teams are going door to door to make sure that every person is safe in Larimer County and all the large animals get out as well. And then also Sheriff Weekly out of Douglas County, who without question sent us his airship up here so we could immediately begin attacking the fire to keep it down to a small size. So again, this is not a singular effort. It takes the effort and work of a lot of people, and I am so blessed and so big to all those folks who are showing up to keep residents of Larimer County safe. So I think at this point, do I dare look at David and go, we're going to take questions, or
Sure.
David's going to go, no, don't do that, Sheriff?
Sure. We'll take any questions that you have.
What's the fire behavior looking like on the ground?
So it's creeping a little bit to the northwest, and I'm going to turn it over to somebody smarter than I am. That's what happens when you're the sheriff.
So obviously the winds are moving around quite a bit. So we're getting all kinds of different fire behavior on the fire. We are seeing some creeping, but we are getting some group torching and some short runs through the trees up on top of Alexander Mountain, which is where this started. The fire burned through there pretty clean and took out all the trees, so it was burning pretty hot, pretty intense. And that's why we didn't put anybody on it initially, and that's why we focused on the homes, just because of the fire behavior we're experiencing. It's not something that we want to put crews up into till it dies down a little bit.
What's the fuel sources looking like? Is it pretty dry, heavy timber? What are we looking like?
Yeah, most of it's timber, brush, and grass. So it's not, there's still a little bit of green component in the grass. The timber's a little bit dry for this time of year, and the brush is probably a little drier than typical this time of year, but nothing out of the norm. This is just a fire that we have this time of year in July and August.
Are there any structures in that area?
So the nearest structure is probably, I gotta look real quick. This is probably the closest structures where we're at right now. There are some structures to the west that are about 2 miles away, and that's where we have a lot of resources staged to make sure that if it does push into there that we're prepared. We also have resources to the east and south that if it drops over Highway 34, we do have resources on the south side too, because there's a lot of timber on that side and can make a pretty good push to the south if that were to happen.
And how far are we from the fire right here?
Don't know the cause at this point. How far away are we?
Yeah, right here.
Probably 1.5 miles.
At this point, are there any reported injuries or deaths from anybody in the area?
No, none that we've been told of. No damage to structures or anything.
What are you expecting for tonight?
More of the same. The winds are supposed to pick up a little bit out of the southwest, which will push it down into here. That's why you see a lot of resources staged along here as well. And we feel like we can make pretty good progress down here in the short grass and catch it, but the winds will probably pick up a little bit. The temperature should drop a little bit. The relative humidity is not planned to recover that great, so it'll still be active through the night, and we'll have resources on the fire through the night.
911 call came in at 10:39. How quick did first crews get there?
The first crew showed up here in this parking lot within 20-30 minutes of that call. I had pulled it up on a camera that we have access to, and we started ordering aircraft from the minute that we got notified of the fire.
Okay. Was that one of your crews, the first one here?
It was a Loveland Fire Rescue. They were the first ones on scene because their fire station's right around the corner.
You guys talk about the contacts and the evacuations. Have you done any mapping to figure out how many homes are in that evacuation zone? Population size, maybe?
So that's something that actually takes quite a bit to figure out. And at this point, that's not our main focus, right? The main focus is we get folks out, make sure they're notified, they have time to get out. And that's something we usually pick up on in the next couple of days, is to narrow down some of those numbers. Again, because as we discussed earlier, there could be 10, 12, 15 contacts, per structure, and there may be contacts who registered for their favorite camping site, hunting site, and so they're not even around here anyway. So it takes a little bit to figure that out.
Can you talk about the methods you use to alert folks? I know one was the opt-in alert that you're talking about.
Correct.
So door-to-door knocking. Did you send a wireless emergency alert?
No, so we send an Everbridge emergency notification. So if the people who have opted in get it, if you have a landline, you obviously get it. And then, of course, we send deputies door-to-door, knock on every single door to alert people that they need to evacuate.
Any thought process about not sending a wireless emergency alert in a situation like that?
So you're talking like iPause?
Yes.
Okay, so IPAWS usually requires a much bigger event, or if we had concern that we would not be able to reach those people in time, that would be a different option. In a situation like this, as Justin explained, we tend to cast a large net on purpose. We want to make sure people have time to get out. We want to make sure we have time to notify them. So obviously we were able to do all those notifications in a timely manner, and that wasn't necessary.
Is there any condition that you could really use to help you out tonight or tomorrow in the next 24 hours, whether it be humidity or wind?
Yeah. Rain.
Winter, rain and the relative humidity to come up through the night and the temperatures to go down obviously would help. The predicted conditions for tomorrow are similar to today, and as we all know, it's supposed to be hot and dry the next few days, so that's going to be problematic for this fire and the growth on it. So we'll continue to bring aviation resources in. The hard part is there's a lot of priorities around the country, so we'll have to really sit down and figure out how many homes are threatened so that we could really dictate why we need all these resources on our fire and really make sure they're aware of what's at risk here.
At this point, where are helicopters that are picking up water? Where are they pulling from? I believe that one of my editors saw a tweet about Horsetooth being used. Where around here is being used for water usage?
So any waterway that's nearby, Pinewood Reservoir, Carter Lake, Glade Reservoir, which is just over the hill where the big helicopter's dipping out of, and Horsetooth, we're going to be using any open waterway where we can get our aircraft in, just because we have so many. So, and the super scoopers that David talked about require a lengthy reservoir like Horsetooth or Carter Lake to be able to scoop water out of, because they're moving as they're scooping the water.
Where are the retardant drops coming out of? Are they coming out of Northern Colorado Airport, or are they going further away?
They're going to Broomfield, Northern Colorado Airport for majority of those, yes.
And has the sheriff's office posse been up as well, evacuating animals throughout the day?
Yes. So when you call the JIC, which David gave you the number, right? If you need help, and we've had a couple of calls for large animal assistance, we've had a couple of calls for people who are taking care of infirmed loved ones at their homes. So we are coordinating those response, but the posse goes up, and we're sending them out to the ranch initially, and then we're going into Greeley for care out there. But yes, we can help address that as well.
Message to people in the evacuation centers.
Don't wait, right? I mean, we're not going to force you. We're going to notify you. Your safety is our number one priority. And we're letting you know now. Now is a good time for you to make that move, so that we can keep you safe.
John, any changes in how you evacuate based on recent fires like the Marshall Fire that got down into an urban area?
Nope. This was a platform we developed about 4 years ago that we send our tactical teams, because teams that are used to working together in high critical, high stress situations, and we're touching every single door. So we feel the best way to do that, when we have the opportunity and time, is to make that contact with you and let you know that way. So that way we want to rely on, is my cell phone there? Did I get an IPAWS message? Did I sign up for no call alert or not? But we want to have that face to
I
face.
guess I'm wondering the range of how far away you evacuate. Has it gotten larger because of recent fires?
Like our evacuation centers, how far away they are?
Evacuation zone.
Well, yeah, we draw a great big box early on. Because it's easier to say you're okay and then be right, that's bad, and then be wrong, and now we have to move you, and we don't want to move you at night or have you move at night. So we drew our evacuation boxes very, very large, just for that very purpose.
How many structures are you talking about?
And I don't know that. Yeah, I don't. Like David said, we haven't mapped that number of structures out, but the tactical teams will pull up the maps that they have, and again, they're used to working that together, doing evacuations, and so they separate into small teams. It's like, you guys have, Pine Court, you guys have Balsa Court, you guys have whatever, and they're touching everybody.
Can you give us a scale of where this is compared to where the Cameron Peak fire burned?
So Cameron Peak, and Justin's probably better at that, but the Cameron Peak scar is a couple of miles to the north and to the west of where we're at. If it runs that way, there's a potential it will run into that, which is not a bad thing, because there's less fuels there for it to burn.
How many people, personnel, how many aircraft?
So we have about 10 aircraft on the fire right now, with additional aircraft ordered. Personnel, a lot. So we're still trying to figure that out. As people come in and they go to staging and they get an assignment, people are logging all of that information. It's just me coordinating with them to get that information. I mean, as you can see, the trucks are nonstop coming in to assist. So my guess would be a press release tonight, kind of wrapping up all of today's operations. We'll really break that down for you guys.